Check out this new video of the hurricane hunters flying into the eye of Helene. The plane is called Miss Piggy. Information from the plane is being used to help track the storm. Let's bring in Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner and Jessica Dobson right now.
And we are talking about the storm reaching a Category 4 before landfall. And Brooks, I know that you flew in there with the hurricane hunters. What specifically are they looking for to determine these categories?
So they're dropping weather instruments inside the heart of the storm to gather data that we can't get by just satellites, right? So there's pressure, there's winds at different altitudes, very specific information that allows them to send that back to the Hurricane Center and make for a better weather forecast. But it's a very bumpy ride. When I was in there, they fly P-3 Orions. They're like the submarine hunters of the military, but they've been transferred over to become weather machines. They're very, very enduring. That's why they fly them. And the one I was on was called Kermit. They name him after Muppets characters. Jess and I were talking about this. Jess wants to go up there one day. So if you're watching us in Lakeland, Paul, we'll get together, get Jessica up there.
Give us a phone call.
All right, that said, it's very important information they're gathering because they're getting not only the latitude, longitude of the exact center, but they're gathering data that allows the National Hurricane Center to make a more accurate forecast, and a forecast that would be impossible to match with the accuracy that they've got without flying in there physically. So it's a very physical activity. You're exhausted when you get back from that. The crew there going for anywhere from 8 to 12-hour flights. It's a marathon for sure, but the results are invaluable. And in this case, they found that Helene is still a Cat 1, winds of 90 miles an hour, but that it still has potential as it moves over this very warm Gulf water to strengthen into a major hurricane before today is out and before this makes landfall in the Big Bend region of the Panhandle this evening. As at least a Cat 3, potentially a Cat 4, but most significantly, Tallahassee has not had a direct hit from a major hurricane in over a century. There were a couple of hurricanes that were near misses, one even back in like 1856, but there's been over a century of tree growth in a city that's grown, and this is going to have huge impacts because as it rushes ashore going at more than 20 miles an hour, it will be strengthening all the way up until landfall and be a real sock in the chin here for this region. This is going to be a big, big deal for them. Now, while we in Orlando will miss the core of the thing, it's also a very large hurricane with high winds on the periphery of the system that go all the way out some 400 miles. So even though the center is going to be here over the Big Bend, we're going to catch strong tropical storm force winds from Tampa all the way to Daytona, including Orlando. That may result in sporadic power outages. Sporadic power outages doesn't mean everybody's going to get it, but there certainly could be some impacts here. Some weaker trees falling maybe, limbs falling, stuff like that. Now, as far as what's going on right now, we've also got a tornado threat. And so beyond the tropical storm force winds, tornadoes are going to be something we're watching for this afternoon. Right now, we've got some rain around the villages, Dade City, Claremont. Doesn't look heavy on radar, but it's actually extremely heavy rain. And inside these showers, we've got some very gusty winds. The reason it's so heavy is because it's tropical rain, so there's just a lot more moisture. Now, we have a tornado warning right now in the Immokalee area. This is going to be east, essentially, of Naples along Alligator Alley. And this is the nature of the beast. We're going to have these short-lived, short notice, short fuse, weak tornadoes, but plenty of them, especially this afternoon, and especially as the system matches our latitude as far as its progress northward. We'll be on what's called the northeast quadrant of the storm by 5:30 p.m. And that's when, as storms develop over our region, they will be rotating and very well could and probably will result in at least several tornado warnings. And as you know, tornadoes can cause a lot of damage, so make sure you are absolutely weather aware. All right, just to time it out for you. Through the day today, here's 11 o'clock. We're not going to have too much rain this morning, but this afternoon, with the waves of rain rolling through any one of these cells through 2 to 6 p.m. could feature tornadoes. So we're going to stay on that for you and talk much more about the impacts here in Central Florida. Even though we're not going to catch the heart of the thing, we're still going to have significant impacts. Jessica, what are you seeing this morning?
Yeah, Brooks, we are going to be expecting storm surge to be an issue, mostly for areas across the Big Bend, of course, but we're talking storm surge that's going to be as high as around 20 feet almost in some spots, so up to 20 feet closer to where landfall is going to be taking place, up to around 15 feet. That could actually be closer to areas near Central Florida, but on the coastal side, so the Tampa Bay area could see up to 15 feet, also up to 8 feet, a little closer to the Bradenton area and the Venice area, but Fort Myers could pick up around 5 feet. Even for a few of our counties like Flagler and northern Volusia County could see around 1 to 3 feet of that storm surge there. When it comes to power outages, that's certainly going to be one of the bigger impacts we feel just as a whole when it comes to the storm as it works its way across the south. So power outages outages will likely be widespread, much closer to that eye wall as it makes landfall. However, since we do have those tropical storm force winds that will be possible for many of us, we could still see some scattered outages across the Orlando area, but all the way through northern Osceola County, Sumter, Lake counties, Volusia, and Flagler, we could certainly see outages there. I think higher outages will be possible, especially in Marion County, close to Alachua County, and also into just the rest of our Fox 51 viewership there. So really important to charge your devices now while you can. Another reason for that is because we do have that tornado potential. Brooks mentioned that a little while ago, and we are under a level 2 risk, but even higher risk is possible a little bit further to the north, closer to the Jacksonville area. So when it comes to flood advisories, we do have a flood watch that is going to be in place until tomorrow morning for pretty much the entire state of Florida. But when it comes to specific impacts, we are going to be expecting the worst of the weather to arrive for Flagler, Volusia, and Seminole counties. That's going to be taking place through the afternoon and evening hours. Strong winds and a few tornadoes will be possible, along with the potential of some isolated flooding and rainfall. So that's important to keep in mind as well, especially if you have to be out a little later tonight. But when it comes to the worst weather, specifically in, say, Marion, Lake, and Sumter County, that's where it's going to be a little worse. We could expect some very strong wind gusts and upwards of 60 miles per hour. A few tornadoes are going to be possible in this location as well. All right, Brooks, I'll send it over to you.
All right, Jess. Yeah, a lot of people are going to say, well, where's the tropical storm you guys are talking about? It looks like it's not going to start in earnest here until probably around 5 to 6 o'clock this evening. That's when we'll start to see these bands of rain working through the region where there could be embedded tornadoes, but more so, this is where we're going to start to catch our widespread wind gusts between 50 and 60 miles per hour region-wide, and it's going to be one of those things where you step outside and it may actually catch you by surprise. So we're going to be tracking this thing all morning long, bringing you the latest updates on not just where the storm is, where it's going, and what you can expect, but also real-time warnings. So stay with the Fox 35 Storm Team. Make sure you download the free Fox 35 Storm Team app. If you lose power, which is possible for a lot of us, you could still watch our coverage live in a stream. And if for some reason the internet is slow or what have you, with the cell phone towers being bogged down, you can get the latest radar, at least the still images, and the latest cone. Bottom line, tropical downpours expected today, bringing tropical storm force wind gusts and tornadoes.